Williams once said that he watched a man commit suicide at the Superdome. And he also said this.
When you look out of your hotel room window in the French Quarter and watch a man float by face down, when you see bodies that you last saw in Banda Aceh, Indonesia, and swore to yourself that you would never see in your country.
I accidentally ingested some of the floodwater. I became very sick with dysentery. Our hotel was overrun with gangs. I was rescued in the stairwell of a 5-star hotel in New Orleans.
The more you hear, it's just mind-boggling. All right, Ed Morrissey, featured columnist for HotAir.com and columnist for The Week, joins us. Hey, Ed.
Hey, great to be back with you.
You know, did you know I played third base for the Yankees during their World Series run in the late 70s?
Well, of course I did. I was playing shortstop for the Dodgers, remember?
But how on earth, in this day and age, does he think he could get away with this?
Well, remember, when he started telling these stories, it wasn't quite this day and age. I mean, we had the internet and blogs had kind of just started to appear, but the real accountability tests that came out of the blogosphere and from social media hadn't really quite been put into play. What's curious to me, though, is that they continue to, or at least Williams has continued to tell these stories, and not just the Katrina story, not just the Iraq story, but there's another one out of Israel-Lebanon war.
Yeah, Hezbollah.
He saw
and
Katyusha
the
rockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is, to me, it's a real problem for NBC News, especially because, Jay Rosen at PressThink, who's it's a professor at NYU who does a lot of media analysis, found the book that NBC News put together in September 2003 about the initial invasion, and it includes the story that Williams' chopper was downed because it came under enemy fire, and that RPGs had hit at least one of the helicopters in their convoy, and that's obviously not the case. I think NBC News has got a real big problem on its hands. It's not just Williams, it's the whole organization.
Now, let me ask you this. Cheryl Atkinson asked the question, which I've been asking on this show earlier. If Brian Williams goes, how does Hillary become president? Because she lied about Bosnia. And she added, how did she ever become Secretary of State after lying about being under sniper fire in Bosnia? But, I mean, does that present her with a huge problem if Brian Williams goes?
I think it's in that realm. I mean, I'm not sure how huge a problem it is, but don't forget that Brian Williams was one of the people that was actually covering the fact that she had lied about the Tuzla Dash. And we put video up last week about it. They were actually kind of tough on Hillary with the Tuzla Dash because she had said the same story three times in a week, and it was very clearly a lie. And Bill Clinton tried to repeat it. Then he tried to say, well, if you were 60 years old and tired, you'd misremember things too, which was a whole other issue for the Hillary Clinton campaign. This is, it's brought it back up. I mean, people are talking about the Tuzla Dash again. I think it would have happened anyway, but if NBC News makes Brian Williams accountable for it, yeah, I think it's a tough question as to whether or not you trust a presidential candidate who tells fibs like that.
You got up there today on HotAir.com a story about Obama, readying the pen. A pen he hasn't used that much because he had a Democratic-controlled Senate, and for the most part, that bills didn't come to his desk that he didn't want. So he's getting ready to veto Keystone, and he's going to do it in a back room somewhere.
Right. Barack Obama's only issued 3 vetoes in his entire presidency because the first 2 years he had a fully Democratic Congress, and the next 4 years he had a Democratic-controlled Senate. So very little got to his desk that required a veto. At least one of those vetoes, and I think maybe 2 of them, were basically technical because the Congress was passing a different version of the same legislation, so he had to veto the bills so that he could sign the next ones. So he hasn't had to use the veto pen. If he uses it on Keystone first, it's going to be a real problem, not just for him, but for the Democrats, because this is a very popular project. The Keystone XL pipeline is, Pew Research did a poll on this last month, and it's supported 59% to 31% by the American people. I mean, so this is a bipartisan bill. It is there is bipartisan support amongst the electorate. And if Obama vetoes this and Democrats can't override it, it's going to make them look extremist and not the
Absolutely.
Republicans. Yeah,
Ed-
and there's going to be more like that.
Great to talk to you, sir. We'll keep reading you, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much, Steve. Great
Thank
to be on your show.
Thank you, Ed Morrissey, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming back with Dan Gaynor, Media Research Center. Don't go away.